The Yeti, also known as the Abominable Snowman, is an Asian Bigfoot found in the Himalayas, inhabiting Nepal, Tibet, Russia, and India. The Yeti is probably the closest living relative to Gigantopithecus, a prehistoric ape that lived in Asia 300 years ago. In Buddhist mythology, Yetis were peaceful creatures. They were very shy and lived in dense snow caves in the glaciers which form the Ganges River in India. And the name Yeti derives from Yeh-Tah, meaning rock thing. The Yeti was even mentioned in pre-Buddhist cultures, such as the Lecha people, who worshipped the Glacier Giant. Tibetan and Nepalese monsters have collected several skulls and bones off the Yetis, some of which preside in Smithsonian Museum today. Although one of their specimens were proven to be human bone, others contained in the museum are still in question. Yetis, according to 21st century sightings, are said to stand from 8 to 10.5 feet tall and have a furry coat of brown, reddish, or black color and resemble a huge, upright, walking ape. Contrary to the popular misconception, the Yeti is not white. Yetis have been sighted in the Himalayas since 6 BCE to 2011. It is the oldest recorded Bigfoot or hairy hominid. On February 2nd, 1959, 9 hikers were camped out in a mountain pass soon to be named Yeh-Tah Pass. Leading the group was Igor Yeh-Tah, and this strange thing happened in the Ural Mountains on the east face of Kholat-Sakal, Russia. That night, the hikers were suddenly attacked by something, and it is not certain what attacked them, but it was like a Bigfoot creature. Some thought that it might be aliens, or even a man could have caused it. But the odd thing is that some of the hikers' eyes and tongues were precisely severed, and to this day, it is unknown what actually caused these hikers to be killed. In 2014, the Discovery Channel hosted a special called The Russian Yeti Killer Lives, created around the premise that the 9 hikers were indeed killed by a Yeti. The documentary looks at the wounds inflicted on the dead hikers and offers its opinion that they were caused by something much stronger than a human being. Misidentification of Himalayan wildlife has been proposed as an explanation for some Yeti sightings, including the Chuti, a languir monkey living at lower altitudes, the Tibetan blue bear, the Himalayan brown bear, or Yeh-Tah, also known as the Himalayan red bear. Some have also suggested that Yeti could actually be a human hermit. A well-publicized expedition to Bhutan reported that a hair sample had been obtained by DNA analysis with Professor Brian Sykes, and it could not be matched to any known animal. Analysis completed after media release, however, clearly showed the samples were from a brown bear and an Asiatic black bear. And in 1986, South Tyrolean mountaineer Reinhold Messner claimed to have been face-to-face with a Yeti. He wrote in a book, My Quest for the Yeti, and claims to have killed one. According to Messner, the Yeti is actually the endangered Himalayan brown bear, which can walk both upright on all fours. The 1983 Byron Valley discoveries prompted 3 years of research on the tree bear possibility by Taylor Fleming, John Craighead, and Tirtha Shrestha. From that research, the conclusion was that the Asiatic black bear, when about 2 years old, spends much time in trees to avoid attack by larger male bears on the ground. During this tree period that may last 2 years, young bears train their inner claw outward, allowing an opposable grip. The imprint in the snow of a hind paw coming over the front paw gives the characteristic footprint, especially when the bear is going slightly uphill, so that the hind paw print extends the overprint backward and creates a hominid appearing track, both in that it is elongated like a human foot but with a thumb, and in that a 4-footed animal's gait now appears bipedal. In 2003, Japanese researcher and mountaineer Dr. Makoto Nobuoka published the results of his 12-year linguistic study. postulating that the word Yeti is a corruption of the word Meti, a regional dialect term for a bear. Nabukuk claims that ethnic Tibetans fear and worship the bear as a supernatural being. In October 2013, a British geneticist said he may have solved the mystery of the Yeti after matching DNA from two animals said to be the mythical beast to an ancient polar bear. We have found an exact genetic match between two samples from the Himalayas and the ancient polar bear, said Brian, emeritus professor at Oxford. The two hair samples taken from a beast shot in the Kashmiri region of Lecha 40 years ago, and the other found in Bhutan a decade ago. He said the DNA from the Himalayan samples was a 100% match with a sample from a polar bear jawbone found in Svalbard in Norway, dating back between 40,000 and 120,000 years. Some speculate that these reported creatures could be present-day specimens of the extinct giant ape Gigantopithecus. However, the Yeti is generally described as bipedal, and most scientists believe Gigantopithecus to have been quadrupedal, and so massive that, unless it evolved specifically as a bipedal ape, walking upright would have been even more difficult for the now extinct primate than it is for its extinct relative, the orangutan. However, the late Dr. Glover Kranz has pointed out that the lower jaw of Gigantopithecus widens and flares out, indicating that the neck vertebrae would be directly under the head, suggesting an upright stance. The Yeti has broad shoulders unlike those of bears, whose scapula lie close to the body, and it walks erect, yet bears do not. The Yeti seems to have an opposable thumb, allowing it to use primitive tools, and no bears can do this. Moreover, eyewitness accounts describe a flat, ape-like face unlike that of any bear. Overall, Gigantopithecus or some other great ape seems like a more plausible explanation for the Yeti. In 2013, British geneticist Brian Skygge scientifically confirmed that some of the DNA samples of the Yeti did not belong to any existing animal, instead to a prehistoric polar bear believed to be extinct. Could these prehistoric glacier giants still roam the vast mountains?